maybe not.
Yeah. About Tona, is that a new one?
And Tona's been here, I think, a couple times,
Okay.
or at least it looks familiar. But if anybody's new to the meeting, could you just kind of explain how you got here? And, we'd love to hear how you heard about these sessions. So it seems like either they are not new and they're coming back for a repeat performance of some sort. Gene, you have your hand raised. So you just, there you go.
Yes, my name is Jeannie,
Jeannie,
and yes, and Celia from Eugene has been attending your group apparently, and she's a friend of my friend Betsy in Eugene, and Betsy gave me the link thanks to Celia, and here I am. So when COVID hit, I went completely plant-based. Before that time, I was vegetarian for years, but I ate dairy. And then once I gave up dairy, life got better. But I went to the doctor today and I was shocked to find out that I've lost some weight since 2019. Had no idea. I don't know when or where or how, but maybe because I've been eating whole foods plant-based, except I've been cheating, eating an unhealthy vegan diet of processed fake meats and stuff like that. So I have to stop that so that I'll get back to better health. So this would be a good class to take to keep me on the right path and also just get encouragement to keep on the right path.
you're exactly in the right place from the way we consider what we're doing. You lost a bit of weight, didn't even know it. And if you were even more whole food plant-based and less of the processed, you'd have lost even more weight, and you'd like, wow, this is totally unbelievable.
Right. And I have additional issues that I have to work on, and I'm hoping the plant-based stuff will address those issues and correct them. For example, my kidneys need a little bit of support um, so that they don't become worse than they are, but maybe better. If the nephrons can revitalize themselves in the kidneys, that'd be great. But I don't know if that actually happens. But
Well,
it will definitely slow the rate of diminishing.
yeah, so let me give you some encouragement in that aspect. I've had 4 people over the last 10 years who have improved their kidney stage 3 disease. They were in the GFR of 40 to 45 range. They improved to above 60, which is considered a normal range, by going totally whole food, plant-based. And that's
Good
what
to
we're
know.
sharing with you in these sessions. And for kidney disease specifically, you may want to go to the archive session. Scott will show you the website tonight, how you can check out the session on kidney issues.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and congratulations for how far you've come so far. That's you should be proud of yourself.
I'm pleasantly surprised. Yes.
Good job.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Is there anybody else who cares to chime in with how they found out about the class and what you might hope to gain from this? It seems like Hal is unmuted. Wait, they're connecting, I guess. And Vera says that I'm in a group for a few years now. This class helped me a lot. Just kind of checking the messages here. And someone, the primary care physician, gave him the link, which we're really thrilled whenever a doctor chooses to send someone to these classes. And Okay. Anyone else? Care to share anything, or? I see a hand that's kind of waving in front, like Jeannie. I don't know if you wanted to say something or that was you were just waving at the fly in front of the screen. Go ahead.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. No, I was just adjusting my volume, but it's good to be here. And I do have a question for tonight. Talking to one of the other participants, Janice, last week after the Zoom meeting, we both had a question because they talked about, I think it was in the videos, where calcium supplements are not really helpful. So what does that do for the calcium that's added to like our almond milk or soy milk? I'm not sure if it's soy milk. I think it's the almond milk that I use has the added calcium.
I think they're
That's a
added to
great,
all milks, but go ahead,
yeah,
Scott.
yeah, that's a great question. So I think it should be fine because I'd have to look at the label. And my guess is it doesn't have that much calcium. Maybe it's 100 milligrams, maybe 200 milligrams. I'd have to look at the package. But where the studies that were done that showed increased risk of heart attack and stroke with calcium supplements, that's with the bigger doses like 1,200 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams, all at one time. And so my guess is that if it was only like 100 milligrams, 200 or 300, even 200 or 300 milligrams, it probably wouldn't have that same effect because it's not a big enough dose. But I don't know that it's been studied at that dose, but that would be just an educated guess on that.
I would agree with that assessment. So we have Tona and maybe Hal next. Tona, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was just gonna reintroduce myself. I have been to class a few times before. I think the last class I attended, I mentioned that I was undergoing chemotherapy. I'm in round 2 of cancer kind of returning after being in remission for a little bit over a year, and actually have been following along with you guys over the course of time, and have slowly but surely been like moving towards a more plant-based diet, and actually have jumped on like full-heartedly, both feet first. I'm in it. I bought the Beat Cancer Kitchen cookbook. I have decided this is my holy Bible grail. I also got the How Not to Die cookbook, and as of yesterday, Monday, had a really good conversation with my doctor, and I am done with chemo and I'm moving to the whole foods diet and just gonna do this, and she's in support of it, which I'm super excited about. So
Wow,
that's
that's
me
great.
right now. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Tona.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
then
recognize your
Hal.
name, but I definitely recognize you.
Yeah.
I'm always up and doing stuff, so I don't usually have my video on, that's all.
Anyone else? Hal, just unmute. I see you talking, but there's a little microphone at the bottom of your screen that you can, there you go. You click, now you, wait, click it again. There you go.
Yeah, my husband is Hal. He does all the Zoom meetings. I'm Kim.
You're doing fine. Oh,
So, yeah, I've had 5 different cancers over the years. So I was interested in what Tana said about that Beat Cancer Kitchen. What do you? I'm wondering what she thinks about the recipes in there, or if she's tried them.
I have started it. In fact, this is kind of what helped me like fully make the jump, to be totally honest, because I found this. I went to the cooking class that they were doing, and they had a resource table at the back, and so I was able to look at the cookbook and opened it. And what I really liked about it, that was something that I feel like I have been needing, is I need kind of like a guidebook. Like, here's how to do it. When you're doing like trying to fight cancer, here's what you should eat. Here are other things. Here's what it looks like. And so he has a really good way of, like, while I was right after my surgery and I'm beating the cancer, this is what I ate and this is what it looked like. And now this is what I'm eating now that I'm past that point, and here's kind of what it looks like. And then I'll be honest, one of a couple of the deciding factors for me is I am Mexican. I really, really love my Mexican food, but it is not the healthiest. And so they had some different recipes in this cookbook that had some good takes on some of my favorite recipes that I'm really excited to try. And then they also had a section of just like some little sweet treats, which is another area that I find I struggle, and I really have a sweet tooth, and I like to have my sweets, and my cancer likes that. So I'm trying to figure out ways to get away from the more processed sugars and eating more whole, better for you, whatnot. So far I really like it, and I'm gonna be living with it, sleeping with it for the next while.
If you like Mexican food, a cookbook you might be interested in, it's an older one. It's from Dr. McDougall. It's called the McDougall Quick and Easy Cookbook. And
Okay.
and it has a lot of he loves Mexican food. There's a lot of Mexican recipes in it. So the McDougall
Okay.
Quick and Easy Cookbook you might want to check it out.
Awesome. I'll write that down. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else have any, tonight is open forum, which is questions on anything you like to talk about.
And last week we talked about osteoporosis and bone health, and it was a very popular class because not only the people that came, but we've had I only just posted it last Thursday, 5 days ago, and there's already 119 views of that class, which is the most we've ever had for any class that we've done in that short of a period of time. So I know we had, there's a lot of questions last week, and so yeah, this is your open forum, but I think Charlie has probably a couple more videos he didn't get a chance to show last week. We could always show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a couple more hands before, Hal, go ahead.
Kim.
Is it Kim?
Yeah, it's Kim. My husband is Hal.
Okay, Kim.
He does a Zoom meeting, so I don't know how to make it me.
Okay.
So I just found out about this class after last week's class, and I went in and listened to watched the video, but it was only like 20 minutes long maybe, and then they said something about, well, that's the end of our hour-and-a-half meeting. So I don't know what I did wrong, because I wanted to see the whole thing. And I scrolled the thing all the way back to the front, and it still was like this shorter meeting.
Let me I'll go to the website just to check on it, just to make sure it's okay. I can get this to hold down here. There we go.
Maybe that so many people were re-logging in, maybe to see.
I don't know.
Here, let's go to class archives.
Yeah.
So this is 2023 classes. Of course, it's just right here. So if you just click play,
Yeah.
let's play it. Yeah, so it starts at the beginning. It's an hour and 27 minutes long. So maybe when you clicked on it, it might have just, started playing midway through or towards the end, because you can kind of drag your bar like this, and you can go to wherever you want.
I dragged it all the way to the front, and that's how long it was.
Yeah, because it's right here. The whole thing's here. But I was just checking on it just to make sure it posted correctly.
I'll check it again later. Yeah. Okay.
Oops.
So while you're there, you're gonna share the kidney, how to get
Oh, sure.
Archive section, and
yeah, let me do that. Okay, so this is the class. So here's the home page, just livelifestylemedicine.com, and definitely if you're new to the website, come down here about halfway down the home page and watch this website tutorial. So you just click on it here. It's about 20 minutes. It's just me giving a tour of where everything is on the website. So definitely highly recommend doing that. But if, yeah, you wanted to see the kidney class, just click on class archives. And then you can see here's 2023. And then here's all the classes we've done so far this year. And let's see, I don't think we've done kidney disease yet this year, have we? I don't think we
I
have,
can't
right?
recall.
I don't think so. So then you would go to the 2022 classes, last year's classes. Let's scroll through. Let's see, there's question and answer. I'm going in reverse order here. And there it is, September 6th, chronic kidney disease from last year. So yeah, we must have that coming up pretty soon here this year. But if you didn't want to wait and wanted to watch last year's, we just click here.
And there's
can
one
watch
Thank you.
below it too.
Oh,
Oh,
One below
that's
it.
the open forum. I see.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so check out, definitely, if you're new to the website, if you're not signed up for the weekly class newsletter, sign up for that. Then you get the email, you'll get a welcome message email, and then you'll get an email every Sunday morning about upcoming classes, and has lots of other information that you might be interested in the weekly weekly newsletter. It comes out Sunday mornings. And if you don't get it, check your junk file because it often goes there. So check that out and watch the tutorial and take advantage of all the good stuff on here.
Okay, so there's a couple hands and then one new question in the chat room. So Joan first and then Marcia.
So since you're talking about cookbooks, and the Esselstyn family seems to have a lot of cookbooks, are there any favorites from the Esselstyn family?
My wife
On the-
likes the new book that they have. Is it Warrior Women or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she got that book and she likes it.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. How about Marcia?
Hello. I went to the nurse class on Sunday and they had a drawing. I won this book, Plant-Based on a Budget. Got some interesting recipes in it, but a lot of them use oil, I've noticed in it.
Yeah, so, that's one of those issues that we encourage you to not use a lot of processed food, and oil is processed, and yet some recipes require some oil, usually a lot less than what is indicated in most of the recipes, but sometimes
yeah.
it's needed. And you could find other food choices, or if you were otherwise healthy and having no medical problems, to have a little bit of olive oil or whatever. It wouldn't be a crime if you wanted to make some special treat or something, but to eat that on a regular basis, not as healthy. So just because it's in a cookbook doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the healthiest choice.
Right. I'm
As
thinking
Scott
if I make,
says, compared to what?
Yeah.
yeah. But if I make those recipes, I can always leave that oil out, I figure, or use something else for it.
Yeah, if it's using it into stir fry vegetables or something, that's easy. You can just do vegetable broth or vegetable stock or water. You can do the water saute, learn how to do that on YouTube demonstration. If it's like someone mentioned earlier and before we started class, that if it's like in a baked good oil in baked goods, you can often use like applesauce. There's other substitutions you can usually make, but yeah, you try to avoid it when you can because it's just empty calories. 125 calories in a tablespoon of any kind of oil, so that's
Like
more than a whole
tofu.
pound of vegetables.
Yeah, like a tofu scramble, they call for vegetable oil or water.
There you go.
They do say you can use water.
There you go.
So if I make them, that's what I'll do.
Good thought. Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
Okay, Marcia Berlin.
Okay, well, I was just going to say that I use broth. I make my own broth because I can't find broth without words in there that I can't understand. So I make my own broth. But I find when I use my own broth instead of oil, that it's much more flavorful. There's no flavor in oil, but in broth that you make is very flavorful. So I just offer that up as a something.
Thank you
Thank you.
for that input. There is a question, is turmeric always to be taken with something with oil such as nut butter or nuts? Scott, do you want to talk about that? Or?
I don't think, not that I know of, it doesn't,
No.
I don't know there's anything that limits absorption or anything like that.
There is something that enhances absorption, however.
Right, black pepper.
So turmeric should always be taken with a pinch of black pepper, but you don't necessarily have to take it with nut butter or nuts. Maybe some chef told you you needed to do that, but that's not what we hear from our mentors. Any other questions? Thoughts? I'm gonna go back to the gallery, see if I can see anybody raising their hand. Okay, it's Kim. Did I get it right this time?
Yes, yes, you did. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm lucky to be on here at all with
You're
any
doing
name.
great.
I put turmeric in my smoothies in the morning, and they're fruit smoothies. I don't think I'd want to put pepper in there.
Just a little pinch of pepper.
Okay,
You won't taste it.
okay,
You will not taste it.
all right.
You can also put a tablespoon of flax meal in there if you don't do that already on in your smoothie. That's good. And try to put lots of greens in there too if you can.
Dave.
Hi, I have a question. So is there anything that will help with having to get up and go to the bathroom too many times at night?
Well, we usually say don't drink anything for 4 hours before you go to bed, and then avoiding caffeine. But it could be a prostate thing too. If you're being an older guy, that's kind of normal.
Yeah, that's what I kind of suspect, but I thought
So
I've
Dave,
tried not drinking and that doesn't do anything.
Dave, I'm an older guy, and when I started this at 63, I was getting up maybe 2 times a night, sometimes 3 times a night. And then when I went totally and completely whole food plant-based, I got down to maybe 1 time a night, sometimes 2 occasionally, but down to 1 most nights of the week. And so maybe 2 or 3 nights, a couple times at night. And that's been going on for about 10 years now, till I'm 75. I don't know. I guess it could get worse, but it's not seeming to get worse. So if you're doing this totally and completely, which I think you're doing pretty close, I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, 4 times a night, when it gets to 5 and occasional 6, that's like, I can't sleep.
Yeah, so that's a lot of times. And so because you're having that many times at night, it's disruptive of your sleep. It probably is time to consult with the urologist and let them, decide what's going on. If you've got a prostate that's enlarged and occluding the flow, they can kind of check your bladder after you urinate. They can see how much urine is left in your bladder, if you're able to empty it completely or not. And then there are some medical therapies that may be helpful to alleviate that. And if they don't work, there are some new techniques to kind of shrink the prostate tissue itself to allow a wider opening. So that's what I'd encourage you to consider doing is get an opinion from one or probably two urologists. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I had prostate surgery a year ago.
uh-huh.
And it was still like 2, 3 times a night, but now it's 4 or 5 times a night. And I'm seeing him Friday, but I thought I'd ask you guys in case there's some magic, eat this.
Yeah,
Do you go a lot during the day too? That
Yes.
frequently? Okay. Well, are you, I'm assuming you're drinking lots of water?
A lot of coffee and green tea. I'm trying to drink a lot of green tea.
Regular caffeinated coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you might consider switching to decaf because caffeine is a bladder irritant, so it can make you feel like you got to go more frequently. So you could try to cut out caffeine. Might be helpful.
Okay.
And sometimes after a surgery, the body heals up. It may have a little scarring that can be kind of stretched with a balloon as opposed to another surgery kind of thing.
Mhm.
So see what they say.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts or whatever?
In the chat, it says the turmeric is destroyed by the stomach if you don't take it with oil. But again, I've never heard or seen any. I'd have to see this study that shows that, and I would think Dr. Greger and his staff would have been on top of that if that would have been the case.
Yeah, this really does boil down to who do you trust in this world? And we have come to trust Dr. Michael Greger. He reviews every article on nutrition around the world that's printed in English. He has 19 people who are volunteers reviewing these articles with him. They're doing the research on the articles. And over the last 10 years, we've come to trust his advice. And I've not ever heard him make that comment. But I don't know who this nutrition department person is and where they got their information and, how truly educated they are. It may sound like a good story, but I also have not heard that the stomach destroys the turmeric. Maybe there's someone else in the class who has a support for that view. Okay. Let's see. Any other questions from anyone or any thoughts from anyone?
I have a question.
Yes, Patricia.
Hi. I get emails from Dr. Greger, that he puts out emails like every Friday and I think every Monday.
Yes.
And he was saying that for older people who have wasting away muscles, he said that you could do progressive weight training and take creatine or creatine. I'm not.
Creatine. Yeah.
Creatine, 2,000 milligrams, and that seems to help. And I just wondering if you guys heard anything about that. I'm thinking, I only do it 10 minutes a day, and I'm thinking, well, is that sufficient, or do you have to do more, or I don't know.
Yeah, I read the article too.
I saw that article, and then I'll let you go, Scott, or continue. But I saw his video this week, and he said, "Wait for the video next week."
Right. Yeah.
To see if there's any side effects before you start doing that. And so, Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. So I recall that now too. So, but yeah, I know there were studies that showed that a lot of bodybuilders and stuff were taking high doses of creatine, and it was showing it would injure the kidneys, and there was some concerns about it. But I guess when in this particular, we'll find out on the other side of the next video. But when you have muscle wasting or sarcopenia, progressive weight training, and getting a little bit extra creatine potentially in some of these studies were showing maybe some benefit, but we'll have to wait and see what the next video shows.
I somehow, I think of this, the TMAO issue. Isn't it the creatine?
No, it's carnitine and
Or
choline.
carnitine, okay,
Okay.
all right. Thanks.
Different, yeah.
And less, so I guess the safety issue is what we're waiting for.
Right, yeah, well,
And
I'll
the
watch.
other issue, he made a big point of you need to really exercise strenuously, so I'm not sure
Did he
that,
say strenuously?
I thought,
I didn't know.
I took
Yeah.
it to mean that this was pretty aggressive exercise to
Mhm.
build muscle mass. I don't know, what's your take, Scott? How did you interpret that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I'm not sure, I guess, because I don't know if that was all focused on the elderly or if he was talking
He
about
was talking about
people in general.
said progressively, and I thought, well, what does progressively mean? Progress? I wasn't sure. I'll have to wait till next week. Yeah.
We'll keep our eyes open and we can talk about it next week also, I guess.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Who next? Kim.
I'd like to get onto that email. What is it?
Oh, for Dr. Greger, yeah. If you just go
Yeah.
to nutritionfacts.org,
Uh-huh.
the first time you go there, it should just it'll say sign up for the newsletter. Yeah,
Okay.
so nutritionfacts.org, and then usually you get a pop. I'm just going to the site on my phone. Usually you get a pop-up that says, subscribe to the newsletter or whatever, and you get the emails
Okay.
almost one every day. Yeah, if you scroll down the website, latest video, what is creatine? Can it treat sarcopenia, muscle loss with age? Yeah.
Okay. Nutritionfacts.org.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's where you'll see we play a lot of the videos in the classes, different videos over time.
All right. Anyone else?
Just a reminder, we have go ahead.
I'm kind of scanning just to see if there's anybody who will unmute or raise their hand here.
And just a reminder for anyone that's new, so we have the Eugene Plant-Based Providers, which is eugeneplantbasedproviders.com, which I have a link to on the homepage of the website I just showed, the class website, livelifestylemedicine.com. And we have our walk coming up this coming Saturday. Looks like the weather's going to be good. It should be upper 60s. It's going to be at 10 o'clock in the morning at the South Eugene High School track, right there by 24th and Amazon, where the tennis courts are there. So we're meeting there at 10 o'clock on Saturday. And then also on Saturday, so two things on Saturday. And then we also have you guys might have seen the email I sent out earlier last weekend, the car wash fundraiser. So if you print out the flyer that I sent in the email, if you go get your car washed, half the money goes to our nonprofit, Eugene Plant-Based Providers. So our nonprofit is what helps to do all these different events. So we have potlucks and the monthly walks and movie socials and dietitian-led grocery store tours and the movie nights and part of it, we sponsored the cooking class that's going on, the Nourish cooking class that some people are taking. And so just to be able to do lots of community events, we have that nonprofit. So you can jump into that if you need your car washed, go for that too.
So someone asked, please put the name of the newsletter on the chat. So I just put the website is www.livelifestylemedicine. Oops, I didn't put the live in there. So we
Yeah,
need
good.
to X that out.
Nice.
I'm
Pull- I
putting
can
it
pull
in
it
the
up again.
chat so that they
No.
can see what to go to here.
Yeah, so here it is, livelifestylemedicine.com. And then right here, you just click on this on the top bar, subscribe to the weekly class newsletter. Just put in your email, first and last name, and then click subscribe. That's it. You'll get a welcome newsletter immediately. And then every Sunday morning going forward, you'll get an newsletter. And as I remind here all the time on this top bar here, a lot of times it goes to your junk file because it's a MailChimp account. So sometimes I'll have patients that'll say, I used to get your email on Sundays, but I don't anymore. And then I have them check their junk file and it goes there sometimes.
So this
yeah,
was, you clicked on the subscribe to the weekly class.
Right here, yep.
newsletter.
Then just
Okay,
put in your
great.
email, first and last name, and there you go. Click subscribe. That's all you got to do. It's automatic. And then, yeah, here's the Eugene Plant-Based Providers link to it right here. Here's the Eugene Plant-Based Provider website. And that's our 501c3 nonprofit. And then you can go to upcoming events. And then here's that Nourish cooking class, which is full, but you can actually sign up to be on the waiting list for the next one. And then here's the information about the walk on Saturday. And then also in October, we have for our second year in a row, we have a booth at the Eugene Health and Wellness Expo at the Lane County Fairgrounds. That's October 14th and 15th. So come check us out. And we have a booth there. And then Charlie and I will be giving a presentation there at 2 o'clock p.m. both Saturday and Sunday. You guys could come out just to, even though you've heard our message before many times, it's nice to have some people there, some familiar faces there to show support. So we appreciate that too. And it's a free event. There's no charge to get in. So there's lots of great booths there, lots of other health promoting businesses and stuff. All right.
Okay, so let's see.
Looks like someone, put a message about, I did sign up for the Nourish class because it was limited in their space. And so, but yeah, it is at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So it's not surprising that they might have, hopefully, when I used to do the classes, the live in-person classes, I used to do it at the church my mom and my sister go to. And so it was just a free place to do the classes. There was nothing religious about the classes for the classes that we teach, but I guess, I didn't realize they were doing prayer there and stuff, but I guess it's a free class. And, Seventh-day Adventists notoriously are vegetarian, more plant-centered and health promoting. So I guess, just some, have to deal with there if you're not religious yourself, but thanks for bringing that up. It's good to know.
Yeah, I'm used to things happening in churches and that just being where things were at, and that I had thought it would be okay. And it was, to be honest, was a little bit uncomfortable. So I have not gone back and won't be going back to that one, but felt like it was important that other people at least be aware of what they may be walking into, because I might have been able to prep myself a little bit differently had I known that was going to be happening.
Yeah.
On the plus side, I got to check out the cookbook, and that's what I walked away with. So I got something out of it.
Good.
So Saturday is the 14th is a solar eclipse. If you've got glasses, don't be looking directly at the sun unless you have special glasses that will, protect your eyes. And I don't think that regular sunglasses do the trick. They have to be polarizing. So be careful, be safe. Dottie.
I just wanted to say that I've been going to the Nourish class at the Adventist Church, and they did do very brief prayer at the beginning, but it's been really good and really useful. So, I would really encourage people to try it the next time, because what they did last night too, in addition to providing a great meal. They taught us how to make falafels, tzatziki, and hummus. But each of the presenters were really good about explaining the tools, the products that they liked and stuff. And having the examples there you could see was very beneficial to me. And I think for the people that I was sitting around too. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate that opportunity, and I'm really enjoying it.
Great, thanks. Thanks for sharing.
Any other thoughts from anybody? Deborah. Go ahead and unmute yourself first.
There we go. Just recently, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and I have had a wonderful history of eating great food everywhere. And I'm really maybe sad or hoping there's some hope. I love Indian food and I love spicy Thai. So now that I know that I have inflammation in my bowels, are there ways in which what do people in India do if they have this? So that's my question.
So the more whole food plant-based you become, the less inflammation you'll have.
Right.
There are spices that are definitely anti-inflammatory, like turmeric, but you could also be eating most any of the spices and be fine with them. It's the animal products that are incorporated into your diet generally, and the processed food that are inflammatory. It's the white breads, it's the white flour that we're so used to eating in the breads and the pastas or whatever that we're making. You know, we're so used to eating inflammatory foods, which we think are healthy for us. So if you're having problems with colitis, then you may want to get the book Fiber Fueled by Dr. Volshevich. It's on our site. Scott may show you where you can get that, and
Sure, I can show it.
Going to it right now.
Okay.
And I'd really encourage you to focus on that once he gets there. And you can also do a search on nutritionfacts.org on colitis, and he has a couple really good videos that can point you in a direction that will allow you to eat really good food, maybe slightly different than you're used to, and you can be happy because you're not continually having to run to the bathroom.
So a couple books. So if you go to resources, click on the resources tab, and then go to links to books. And there's a whole bunch here, but I'll go down to, so there's probably two different ones you might be interested in on this topic. One would be Fiber Fueled. Dr. Wilbowitz, as Dr. Ross said, he's a gastroenterologist. This is a really good book for anyone with any kind of GI issues, whether it's irritable bowel syndrome or heartburn or ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, colon cancer, I mean, any bowel issue. And then another one you actually might be interested in is we already had our autoimmune disease class, but this would be a good one too, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease by Dr. Brooke Goldner, because ulcerative colitis is an autoimmune disease. So calming down inflammation is her forte. So I would recommend both of those books for anybody that has ulcerative colitis, and then this one, of course, any kind of autoimmune disease. And you could go back and watch our classes in the archives on, we have both, click on archives. We've had both of those already this year. So you could go back to, we had two-parter on autoimmune disease, was thyroid health and arthritis. Those two there. And then if you go further back, July 18th, we had our class on gastrointestinal health. So you could watch that one too.
Okay, thank
So
you.
Then you don't feel like you had to miss anything. Yeah.
I want to make a side note. The books that Scott showed you, we make no money on. We're strictly sharing this as, we've read them ourselves. We feel they're valuable for the public, for general knowledge, for people who have specific problems, but we have nothing in the way to disclose that we're making any money from doing this. This is strictly what we perceive as being the best science, the best studies, the best way to help people change their what they're choosing to eat to bring them the best health. Marcia.
Yeah, has anybody heard, or you or Scott, heard of the chipshealth.com thing?
Yes, that's how I got my start. I became a CHIP instructor back about 10 years ago when I first became whole food plant-based from Esselstyn, and I knew nothing about nutrition. And then I did the training. I like the course. It's a series of 18 sessions. They have professional videos they've made where they are talking about all the topics about lifestyle medicine with the emphasis on food as medicine. And the course, when I was teaching it back about 10 years ago, was $600, so 650. People didn't want to pay for that. And so I set about looking for videos that would cover the same topics as the CHIP, Complete Health Improvement Program. And so we could share those videos with people. It wasn't quite as professionally done as the videos that CHIP has. And they had a cookbook, and they had sessions that people would do homework every week, and they would do lab work. We did the lab work on people to show them how their cholesterol level dropped and how their blood pressure dropped when they went whole food plant-based. And so we took those courses that people didn't want to pay money for and tried to make them free. And that's where these courses came about. Similar information.
Okay. He was on, I watched Chef AJ, and the doctor was on there that was from Chips Health. So
Yeah,
that's how
Hans Deal was the doctor who started it. He actually insisted when I called him up and said we wanted to do a dessert. He said, you got to go out and buy a juicer for your class. I said, I don't do juicing. He says, you got to go buy a Champion juicer, and then you freeze bananas and you run the bananas through that, and it makes delicious ice cream. Put some fruit on top of it. Your class is going to love it. And I said, well, I can do a blender, can't I? He says, it doesn't have the same texture. And so when we do cooking demonstrations in the community again, probably next year, early next year, hopefully, we'll take our juicer down. I just have to find someone who will freeze enough bananas for us, or I'll have to do it myself. And we'll share this vanilla or chocolate ice cream with you that's made with just bananas and just cocoa if you like chocolate.
That's what they made today on this broadcast, along with a brownie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, CHIP's called Pivio now, Pivio. And then Hans Deal just died a few months ago. And so they're going to actually, when I go to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine conference at the end of next month in Denver, they're actually going to be honoring him at that conference.
He's a great guy. He's helped so many people and kind of changed my life as one of my mentors through his course. Okay, time for a video.
Sure.
Or unless you have another question, we want these sessions to be your sessions. So let's just make sure there's no one. Okay, Dave, you have another question, or
I have a
Sheree?
question yet. Sheree's here, so I gotta ask it.
Okay, good.
How much vitamin D should we get? I've heard 1,000, 2,000, 4,000. What's
2,000, you want 2,000 international units of vitamin D3 daily, but you want your, check your labs, make sure you're above 30 on your blood work for your vitamin D level. But ideally, you get it from the sunshine. You don't need to take a supplement. It's just that we just don't get enough skin exposure year round to be able to count on sun exposure to get our vitamin D levels up above 30. So if you're not above 30, then you're going to need the 2,000 international units of D3 daily.
I thought you said last week something about 2,000 to 4,000. That's why I was confused.
So, well, some people need more. I mean, so if someone's taking 2,000 and then they're still not above 30, then they'll bump them up to 4,000 or even 5,000 international units a day. So it just depends on where your blood levels are, because you don't want to get too high either. You don't want to get above like 100 or something. That would be, because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, so it can cause toxicity. So you don't want to be too high.
Is there a good place to get the test done besides just like your annual physical or something? Or
I know if you have history of deficiency, you can get, your insurance will usually cover it. But if you don't have deficiency, then it's usually your insurance will not cover it. I know Charlie knows a way to get it cheaper on the internet, I think.
Yeah, there's an internet source. I can't remember the name of it right now. Looking up, I'll try to do that while I'm playing the next video.
Okay.
I think it's called the Vitamin D Council. And they do online testing. I think when we had it done, it was like $50. It may be $75 by this time. And we did our level to check it that way. Because we didn't satisfy any of the criteria for the insurance to pay for the vitamin D level, like we didn't have osteoporosis or significant osteopenia. If you don't have that, then oftentimes the insurance companies won't pay for the test.
Yeah, so they should.
But-
Okay.
So I'll look it up, see if it's Vitamin D Council.
Thank you.
okay?
Uh,
So
Go
2,000,
ahead.
okay, that would never be too much.
What's that?
No, 2,000 is the recommended dietary allowance is 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000.
Okay,
2,000, you're not going to go wrong. If your vitamin D level is low, like 11 or 15 or maybe even 20, I would say that maybe doing 4,000 would be okay. But if you're around the 20 to 30 level, 2,000 a day should be just fine. International units, IU.
thank you.
Which is the same as 50. I think it's 50 micrograms is the same as 2,000 international units. But usually the bottles say both. Like my bottle says 50 micrograms and then in parentheses 2,000 international units.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm just asking about vitamin K.
Kim,
Oh.
go ahead.
No, I was just saying that since we're on the topic of vitamin D, it says with or without vitamin K2. So with K2, you're getting vitamin K1, plenty of it from plants, and that's for the clotting. And then vitamin K2, if you have osteoporosis, you might need a K2 supplement, but you usually basically there's bacteria in your body, in your gut that convert K1 to K2. So if you don't have osteoporosis, you don't need to take vitamin K2. You convert enough of it from K1 to K2, so you don't need to take a supplement. But the opinion is if somebody already has osteoporosis, they probably should take K2 just to play it safe, just to make sure they get enough. But because that K2 is important in bone health as well.
Go ahead, Kim.
So on the question of supplements, is there a brand that is preferred? I have kind of gone towards something called Raw One brand. I don't know, but like I do calcium, B12, D, and I try and make sure there's K. Is one brand better than another of these things? Iron?
Go ahead, Charlie. You've covered this before, Charlie. I like your answer.
Well, as far as the vitamin D brand, I don't actually know what it is. I
Mine's
know
Nature's Made. but
Oh,
it
that's
doesn't-
it. Nature's Made is what we wind up buying, but I'm not sure that that's a better brand than any other brand. I think it's considered a supplement, so it's not really regulated all that well at all. And so we've been using Nature Made for many years, off and on, and so we're comfortable with that. The Vega brand, VEGA, is I don't know if they make vitamin D, but it's a kind of a vegan brand. And then there is the vitamin B12 that we get, which I can't remember who makes that actually. I have to go downstairs and get it. But if your brand is doing okay for you, be careful about how much calcium that you're getting in there, because you may want to do a search on or look at last week's session on calcium and how calcium supplementation has an increased risk of heart attack and stroke associated with it when you're taking high doses. So I don't know what your strength is that you're taking, but you may want to watch those videos and ask your doctor about that. Do you think this could be a problem?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. What else? Well, let me share a screen and we're going to go just play a couple videos that we didn't get a chance to play last time. Why? Just for the fun of it, and maybe pique your interest a little bit in this topic a little bit more. I just need to search and find where I'm going. And I think it was to 15. Yeah, that's it. And then let's see, we're going to prunes for osteoporosis. Here we go. Can you see and hear that okay, Scott?
Yeah.
Good.
We are in an epidemic of osteoporosis. 10 million Americans have it, and 1 in 3 older women will get it. We urgently need public health strategies to maintain bone health and prevent osteoporosis. Might fruits and vegetables be the unexpected natural answer to the question of osteoporosis prevention? Evidence from a variety of studies strongly points to a positive link between fruit and vegetable consumption and indexes of bone health, such as bone mineral density. And the size of the effect in the older women is impressive, doubling the fruit intake associated with a 5% higher spine mineralization, and the same relationship with young women too. And eating lots of fruit in childhood may protect bones throughout life, something that was not found for milk intake, as I've explored before. Bone health isn't just about calcium. There are several key nutrients in fruits and vegetables and beans associated with better bone mineral density, but does that translate into lower hip fracture risk? The Singapore Chinese Health Study found that a diet rich in plant-based foods, namely vegetables, fruits, and beans such as soy, indeed may reduce the risk of hip fracture. But why? The underlying mechanism in postmenopausal osteoporosis is an imbalance between bone cessation and bone formation. and oxidative stress may play a role in this balance. There are two types of bone cells: the bone-forming osteoblasts and the bone-dismantling osteoclasts. Osteoblasts are continually laying down new bone, while osteoclasts chisel away old bone, and they use free radicals as the molecular chisel to chip away our bone. Too many free radicals in our system, though, may lead to excessive bone breakdown. Antioxidant defenses appear markedly decreased in osteoporotic women. Elderly osteoporotic women were found to have consistently lower levels of all natural antioxidants tested. Because excessive free radicals may contribute to bone loss, it's important to elucidate the potential role antioxidant-rich fruits play in mitigating the bone loss that leads to the development of osteoporosis. The thought is that fruits upregulate the bone-building cells and downregulate the bone-eating cells, tipping the balance towards greater bone mass. So let's put a fruit to the test. Which one are we going to pick? Well, dried plums were chosen because they have among the highest antioxidant ranking among commonly consumed fruits and vegetables, and because the researchers scored a grant from the California Dried Plum Board. When you think of prunes, you think of bowels, not bones, but over a decade ago, researchers at Oklahoma State tried giving a dozen prunes a day to a group of postmenopausal women, using a dozen dried apple rings as a control. After 3 months, only the subjects who consumed the prunes had significant elevations in an enzyme marker of bone formation, although prunes didn't seem to affect markers of bone breakdown. So prunes may help more with building bones than preventing bone loss, though the reverse was found with almonds, so maybe a little prune-almond trail mix is in order. While this bump in bone formation indices one might expect with this improvement, one might expect if they did a longer study, we'd actually see an impact on bone mineral density. And 9 years later, just such a study was done. 12 months on dried plums versus apples, and both dried fruit regimens appeared to have bone protective effects, though the prunes seemed to work better in the arm bone and spine. So the Dried Plum Marketing Board wants everyone to know that dried plums are the most effective fruit in both preventing and reversing bone loss. But only 2 fruits have ever been tested, plums and apples. But if this does pan out for other plants, a fruit and vegetables approach may provide a very sensible and natural alternative therapy for osteoporosis treatment, one that is likely to have numerous additional health-related benefits. All we have to do is convince people to actually do it.
So that's why I wear my shirt, Eat Your Veggies, fruits and veggies. One last video here that I want to play for you, and it is phytates for osteoporosis. And it's right next to it, right here. And then we'll come back to the room. It's only a 3-minute one. This is a short one.
Health authorities from all over the world universally recommend increasing consumption of whole grains and legumes, beans, split peas, chickpeas, and lentils, for health promotion. But what about the phytates? Phytate is a naturally occurring compound found in all plant seeds, so botanically that means all beans, grains, nuts, and seeds. Over the decades, phytate has been badly maligned as a mineral absorption inhibitor. That's why, for example, you hear advice to roast, sprout, or soak your nuts to get rid of phytates so we can absorb more minerals like calcium. The concern about phytates in bone health arose from a series of laboratory experiments performed on puppies published in 1949, suggesting high phytate diets have a bone-softening and anti-calcifying effect. Subsequent studies on rats, in which they fed them the equivalent of 10 loaves of bread a day, confirmed phytate status as a so-called anti-nutrient. But more recently, in light of actual human data, phytate's image has undergone a makeover. If you put People on a high phytate diet and measured their calcium balance, their bodies appeared to become accustomed to the extra phytate over time, and it all worked out. But this study was done on only 3 people. So I was glad to see this study published, which asked the simple question, do people who avoid high phytate foods, legumes, nuts, and whole grains, have better bone mineral density? No, in fact, quite the opposite. Those that consume more high phytate foods had stronger bones, as measured in the heel, spine, and hip. The researchers conclude that dietary phytate consumption had protective effects against osteoporosis, and that low phytate consumption may instead be considered an osteoporosis risk factor. This is consistent with reports that phytate can inhibit the dissolving of bone similar to anti-osteoporosis drugs like Fosamax. A follow-up study found the same thing, improved bone density in those that consumed the most phytates. But this is the most convincing study to date, actually measuring phytate levels flowing through women's bodies and following their bone mass over time. And women with the highest phytate levels had the lowest levels of bone loss in their spine and their hip, and so no surprise that those that ate the most phytates were estimated to have significantly lower risk of major fracture and lower risk of hip fracture specifically. This is thought to be in part because phytates help block the formation of bone-eating cells in their bone-eating activity. You can see how much more bone is eaten away in the non-phytate group on the left. Now, the drug Fosamax can have a similar beneficial effect, but phytates don't have the side effects associated with this class of bisphosphonate drugs, side effects like osteonecrosis. There's a rare side effect associated with this class of drugs called osteonecrosis of the jaw. And the whole reason people take these drugs is to protect their bones, but by doing so may also risk rotting them away.
Okay, so time to stop the share and see if you have any questions on those videos or something else. And Edward, I'm looking for Eureka on your shoulder there, but
she's down there sleeping.
Okay, how's it going? You got a question?
Yeah, could you just refresh me on what free radicals are and how they do bad things?
So free radicals are kind of breakdown products of the milk, dairy, and eggs that you're eating. They cause inflammation. I think of it like your body, like when you put metal out in the yard and how it rusts. I think about it in that way, that I believe it's through an oxidation process that that these free radicals work, and maybe Scott has a little better explanation, but we try to eat antioxidants to combine with the free radicals so that they don't cause the damage in our body. So it'd be better not to eat the foods that result in free radical formation.
Yeah, so pretty much everything we eat, everything we do, in our metabolism, everything, because we age, right? And so everything produces free radicals, but there's just lower levels and higher levels. And so if if you're eating, even if you're digesting a whole food plant-based meal, there's still free radicals being produced by that, because your body has to it's, think of it as like an engine running. There's some exhaust, right? The engine's running, there's some exhaust, there's going to be some free radicals, but then when you're eating a whole food plant-based meal, it comes packaged with tons of antioxidants. And so those antioxidants are like, think of it like water calming, kind of smoldering the fire, basically. And so when you're eating a Kentucky Fried Chicken meal with mashed potatoes with gravy and butter and biscuits and the fried chicken and everything, there's huge load of free radicals, huge fire burning to digest that's doing damage to your body. And then because there's really no antioxidants and maybe a tiny bit in the coleslaw if you're eating that, but there's so much sugar in their coleslaw, it kind of kind of cancels it out. But so then you're not really getting any antioxidants in that meal. And so you're just that fire's just burning. There's nothing to kind of calm it down. So kind of think of it that way, kind of like Charlie said, rest, or it's kind of the process of aging is we produce free radicals, but if we give ourselves lots of antioxidants with every meal, we're gonna limit that damage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a question? I did look up Vitamin D Council. It looks like they're still in, they're listed under a Google search, and it's a $50 test for a vitamin D level, which they send you a card, you stick your finger, you put a little blood on 4 different circles, you mail it back to them. They give you the results, but you have to get the results on your computer. So you're used to using the computer, so it should not be a problem. Let's see, I guess I need to go see if there's anybody else in the room, in the gallery here, that's got their hand raised, or that's waving their arms, or saying like, hey, we want to say something else. Feel free to unmute yourself if I don't see you.
Next week, we're talking about Alzheimer's and dementia. Is the topic next week.
So if there's nobody's going to raise their hand, I'm going to play the optimal dose of vitamin D, which may, be of interest to some of you. So let me do that, and then we'll stop and see if there are any questions. And if not, we may play a little bit more of something. So optimal dose of vitamin D. I wonder where that is, that video. Here it is. It's a 5-minute one.
If everyone took 2,000 units of vitamin D a day, it could shift the curve from average blood levels in the mid-50s to about 110, which some estimate could add years to our life expectancy. Data derived from randomized clinical trials have convinced some influential experts, such as Harvard's chair of nutrition, that we should shoot for this kind of range, levels that are...
So the range is a little different than the range we're used to here in the United States. If you see the values that they're using, it's
different. It's different units, so it's still 30. I think the 75 equates to about 30.
Correct.
Yeah.
So 30 to maybe 60 or something like that, or 75, as opposed to 75 to 100. So don't let that confuse you. Okay, here we go.
Range, levels that about 9 out of 10 people fail to reach, because it may necessitate taking between 1,800 and 4,000 units a day. The Institute of Medicine, however, considered blood levels of 50 to be sufficient, and therefore only recommended 600 to 800 units a day for those with little or no sun exposure, because they were only considering bone health. But even if you just cared about your bones and not your lifespan, you'd still probably want to shoot for the 75 threshold, because there's evidence like this from hundreds of autopsies of people that died in car accidents showing osteomalacia, softening of the bones. And between 18 and 39% of people that reach the Institute of Medicine target, but fail to make it to 75. There's even been a charge that the Institute of Medicine simply just made a mistake in their calculations, and so using their own criteria, they should be recommending thousands of units a day as well. But the mere absence of soft bones can hardly be considered an adequate definition either of health or of vitamin D sufficiency. It's like saying you only need 10 milligrams of vitamin C to avoid scurvy. Yeah, but we need way more than that for optimal health. The Institute of Medicine took the position that the burden of proof fell on anyone who claimed benefits for intake higher than their minimal recommendations, which is a good approach for drugs. For unnatural substances, less is more until proven otherwise. But for nutrients, shouldn't the starting point, at least, be the natural levels to which our bodies have become finely tuned over millions of years? The target level of 75 only sounds high compared to average levels today. But in modern times, we practice unnatural activities like working at a desk job, or sometimes even wearing clothes. We evolved running around naked in equatorial Africa, getting sun all day long. If you measure vitamin D levels in those living traditional lives in the cradle of humanity, a normal vitamin D level would be over 100. So maybe that should be the starting point until proven otherwise, a concept regrettably many guidelines committees seems to have ignored. Now look, the natural level isn't necessarily the optimal level. Maybe the body would have thrived with less. So you still have to look at what levels correspond to the lowest disease rates, and when you do, the highest levels do indeed seem to correlate with less disease. You know what always struck me when I was doing pediatrics? That breastfed babies required vitamin D drops. I mean, shouldn't human breast milk be a perfect food? Of course, for the medical profession, the solution is simple, right? Provide the baby supplements, the drops. But it seems like we shouldn't have to, right? It should be perfect. But look, you measure human breast milk these days, and it has virtually no vitamin D, and would cause rickets, unless the mom had vitamin D levels up around, you guessed it, the level natural for our species, which of course makes total sense. So it's just like an environmental mismatch, the way we live in our modern world. It helps to think of vitamin D as what it truly is, a hormone, not a vitamin. So if you think of it like that, then it would be reasonable to have normal levels. Right? We physicians try to maintain blood pressure and all sorts of parameters within normal limits, but why is so little attention paid to the status of the hormone vitamin D?
So some of that level may be confusing, and I want to clarify that. If your level is above 30, that's the 75 he was talking about. They're different units, different ways of measuring. So you're looking for a vitamin D level above 30. And so you can get that, I'd encourage you to check it. We wear clothes, we cover our body up. Someone looked it up the other day. You need to expose 25% of your body for 10 minutes in adequate sun to get an adequate amount of vitamin D for the day. But that's probably in the area, not living in Oregon, where most of us in this classroom are. That might be down in Southern California or around the equator areas. So, take your vitamin D. It's been my experience when I was doing vitamin D levels on patients on a regular basis in this area, about 3 out of 4 people had lower than 30 levels. So that's why we encourage everyone to take at least 2,000 a day. Scott, anything else to add?
No, I think, and then probably the 100 or so, maybe the natural level. That's why a lot of providers even shoot for 50, because that's where that's probably what equates to what we evolved at, was probably around 50. But
so for me, in order to get to a 50 level, I got to 50 or 60 by taking 5,000 units a day. And I don't like to take 5,000 units a day. But in winter, if I'm getting absolutely no sun, I might do that a few times a week. And then I drop back to 2,000 a day when springtime comes. And if I'm really out on a hot summer day and I'm in the sun all day long playing tennis, which I haven't done for a while, then I might skip it for a day or two. But I
I
need
have
to
a,
get enough sun.
I have a problem with mine too. Like I had my physical in July, and I'm outside riding my bike all the time, but I wear sunblock a lot. So that's another thing, because I don't want to, because my dad's had melanoma, so I've had some precancerous things burned off myself, so I have to wear the sunblock. And so even though it was middle of summer and I've been outside riding my bike a lot, and I was taking vitamin D at that time I was taking 2,000 international units maybe 2 or 3 days a week was all. So I thought, oh, that's probably enough because I'm out in the sun. My level was still 18 when I had my blood work done in July. So now I take it in every day because obviously I need to. But I got pretty dark skin, pretty tan. So when you have darker skin, you don't absorb as much either. And tanning beds don't work. Yeah, tanning beds will increase your risk of skin cancer, but it doesn't give you the UV you need to convert vitamin D to make active form of vitamin D. So tanning beds don't work for that.
So we've been over a number of questions today, and we just want to see if there's any other questions or any other thoughts that any of you have. We're getting close to the hour and a half. We still have 8 minutes or so. So fire away if you have anything that's burning on your mind. Doesn't necessarily have to be on bone health or anything in particular. Whatever questions you have, we'll try to answer for you.
Does diabetes have anything to do with how you absorb vitamin D? I don't know if you're hearing me or not.
I don't think so. I don't recall reading anything. Have you, Scott, read anything about that?
As far as, I guess I was reading a question in the chat. So about
vitamin,
absorption?
does diabetes have anything to do with vitamin D level? I don't think so. But
not that I know of.
A run. Go ahead and unmute first.
Okay, good evening. So I have a quick question. In autumn, like right now, there are so many fruits, which obviously are very sweet. And so if you overdo on fruits, is that a problem?
It's not a problem for most people if you're not eating, if you don't have insulin resistance. If you're eating totally plant-based, there are some people who are, eating huge amounts of fruit, like my fourth-year medical student who was just rotating with me. We went to school and he ate 6 bananas for that day, along with half a watermelon, I think. He's really as close to a fruitarian as anyone, and I probably partake of 6 or 7 servings of fruit a day. Dr. Greger recommends 4 servings a day for most all people. So as long as you're getting a good complement of legumes, the beans or lentils, chickpeas or split peas, you get a good amount of those for the day, like maybe 1.5 cups a day of those. And then you add some whole grains like oatmeal or groats or rice or quinoa. You get a bit of that, maybe another 1 cup or 1.5 cups. And, you're starting to get full. And then you add some vegetables in there, another 5 servings. It's not going to leave room for eating more than maybe 5 or 6 servings of fruit a day, you know, and you're eating a wide variety of different fruits and vegetables. So how many servings of fruit are you worried about?
Well, no, I just was curious because in our garden we have all kinds of fruits and, you know, they taste good. So I just keep on eating them.
Keep on eating them and not to worry.
Yeah.
You know, a little less whole grains maybe, but I wouldn't replace the legumes. I wouldn't replace the greens and veggies necessarily.
Yeah, the only
but-
problem with eating too much of any one food is then you're missing out on all the other variety that you want to get in in the day. That would be the only downside. Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course, I keep on, you know, eating grains and legumes and all that. Sure, not a problem. And vegetables, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and then the other quick question was, you know, like in the last 4 days, I probably averaged about 6 to 7 miles of hiking. And so that's not a problem with, let's say, my knees, right? I mean, I can, yeah.
Are you having pain with that, or are you otherwise comfortable with the hiking?
Oh, I love it, except at night my legs are tired, but morning I'm ready for another hike.
I would say keep
Great.
at it. You know, it sounds like you're having fun, enjoying life, and I surely wouldn't worry about it. Now, if you were a marathon runner, beating your knees into the ground, then I might be a little concerned. But hiking, I haven't seen it to be a problem. Have you seen any problem with that, Scott? In your
No, just be careful. Don't fall down and hurt yourself. That's the that's the main thing.
keep enjoying, keep hiking away.
All right, okay. Thank you.
Thanks for the questions.
Welcome.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and look at the gallery, see if there's any other questions here that we have. We do have time for another one or two, but it seems like everybody is all talked out. Well, hey, I guess we could stop a couple minutes early. It won't kill anybody. Next week, you said, what are we doing next week, Scott?
Alzheimer's and dementia.
Okay, so that's a topic that a lot of people are interested in, preventing themselves from getting it. Yes, Kim.
If we can remember it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Remember to come.
I like that. That's great. Very good. We appreciate all your input, all your questions, and we had fun with you tonight. And we look forward to doing this again with you.
Hope to see some of you on Saturday at the walk.
Yeah, come to the walk. We'll be there.
Thank you.
10 o'clock at the Eugene High School track.
Yep, 24th and Amazon there, and I showed earlier the link to on the Eugene Plant-Based Provider website, the upcoming events, and it's also in the class newsletter on Sunday mornings.
It's easy to get to. You go down Willamette Street to 24th, turn left, and you see the tennis courts, and then the track is right next to them.
Yeah, it's right off Amazon, not Willamette. 24th and Amazon is the intersection. It's right by the tennis court there.
Yeah, okay. I think that's how I got there the last time. I think I went down Willamette, turned on 24th to Amazon, I think. Can you do that?
Go. Yes.
Okay. We'll get it straight. Maybe.
Well, I was born and raised here, so you're newer to Eugene.
I'm the newbie on the block. No doubt. Thank you.
Well, I could just say that Amazon and 19th is under construction, so you may want to be avoiding that. But I think 24th and Amazon is okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, everybody.
Good night.
Scott, thanks a bunch.
Good night, yeah, good night. See you next week, everybody.